Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, friends. Cities have always loomed large in the queer imaginary, and for good reason. They have long been places where those who lived outside social norms could find connection and create new identities. Yet they have also been spaces of surveillance and control. Historically, the same forces that made cities havens for self-expression also intensified the policing and medicalization of sexuality. For many LGBTQ people, urban life has therefore carried a double meaning. Cities offered the promise of safety and anonymity, but also the risk of exposure and repression. As the Greek poet C.P. Cavafree once wrote, "You won't find a new country, won't find another shore. This city will always pursue you." His words remind us that the city, with all its contradictions, remains central to who we are and how we are seen. Across the globe, this paradox continues. Cities are both places of possibility and sites of exclusion. For millions of LGBTQ people, daily life in urban spaces is still marked by harassment, discrimination, and invisibility. Public spaces, which should belong to everyone, too often become spaces of fear. The South African writer K. Selodeka captured this tension. He wrote, "I know what fear is. I know what it means to be scared, to be always on the lookout. The world is watching, but only you can hear the music." His words evoke the fragility of safety in the city and the vigilance often required, especially for those living on the margins. More than half of humanity already lives in cities, and by 2050 that figure will rise to nearly 70%. Municipalities are therefore not only engines of growth, but also front-line guarantors of human rights. Decisions made locally on housing, healthcare, education, and civic participation determine whether people live with dignity or in marginalization. In too many cities, LGBTQ persons face obstacles to safe housing, unequal access to healthcare and sanitation, and disproportionate levels of youth homelessness. These experiences are often compounded by intersecting forms of discrimination and by restrictive laws or policies. Yet there are also powerful examples of resilience and inclusion. In Bogota, where I undertook a country visit in May 2025, inclusion is embedded across city services, from policing to public health, supported by strong community partnerships and adequate resources. In Albania, where I also undertook a country visit, the partially government-funded shelter Streha provides vital refuge to young people left homeless because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. In Poland, cities have served as bulwarks against exclusionary local policies, working with civil society to promote equality and support pride events. And in Johannesburg, my hometown, the renaming of a city corner in honor of activist Simon Nkosi reminds us of the power of memory, history, and public commemoration. These experiences show that when community leadership, municipal commitment, and adequate resources align, cities can be transformative. Inclusion is not only a human rights imperative, it's also an economic and social one. Research confirms that societies embracing diversity perform better in innovation, investment, and productivity. The Canadian poet Nicole Brossard captures something of this dynamic motion between people and place. She wrote, "Each year I walk through a new city, with words, with bones, with hair, with glasses. I walk with someone who wrote a book, then took leave on tiptoes." Her lines speak to the way in which we inhabit cities through memory, language, and human connection. Cities, however, cannot operate in isolation. While they can offer sanctuary, even in politically hostile settings, lasting progress depends on cooperation between local and national governments to ensure that violence and discrimination are addressed holistically and with adequate resources. This expert group meeting offers an opportunity to reflect, to share lessons, and to advance an LGBTIQ+ urban agenda, a framework for advocacy and cooperation, ensuring equality is woven into the fabric of the urban future. Our shared goal is to see the rights of LGBTQ persons fully reflected in upcoming global milestones, including the World Urban Forum in Baku and the midterm review of the new urban agenda in 2026. My message is simple. Cities must commit to being safe, inclusive, and accountable to all their residents. They must protect against violence, guarantee equal access to housing, healthcare, and education, recognize diverse identities, and enable full participation in civic life. Friends, cities can be places of exclusion and danger, but they can also be places of hope, belonging, and transformation. They are where diversity meets daily life, where rights become realities. Let us work together to ensure that the cities of the future are truly human rights cities for all. Thank you.